Today we have a special guest, and it's my little bunny. She is currently trying to eat hand sanitizer. Alright, let's begin. So, this is a villain, Sphinx Deku. If you don't know what those are, just look up Sphinx. It will be in the title. So, if you don't know what they are, they're in Egypt. So, he has small head. I'm sorry. But let's get on. In a village deep in a faraway desert stood watch a selfish sphinx. The sphinx would demand that the village pay to, to tie to him by giving him their best food and wine, so in exchange he wouldn't destroy the village. All of this just to feed his ego. For the most part, Izuku kept it to himself, and only sometimes terrorizing some of the townspeople. Those days are today. Yeah. Just a few hours ago, Izuku came down and kidnapped the leader, Tenya Ida. And at the worst time, an awful plague passed through the village. Many awful plagues passed through the village. Many were too weak to leave their beds. Townspeople were too afraid to face Izuku or even ask him for help. He was known to challenge all who opposed him in a riddle game. If you are to get one single wrong, he would eat you. They talked back and forth, but no one spoke up. No one dared to oppose the Sphinx. Well, except all but one, a young girl named Yin, who was the only one who stood up. Sadly, the girl was gravely sick and was going to ask the Sphinx for a cure. So time was of the essence. I forgot to tell you these riddles are from My Little Pony, so if you haven't watched that one story. I can't remember what episode it was, but yeah, I only remember it because I watched it. The village was able to survive in the desert thanks to a nearby oasis. Many other villagers tried and failed to conquer this town, thanks to the Sphinx. So Yin is ready, walking on eggshells with this task. Out of the village and past the oasis stood a large sandstorm structure. Inside, Yin made her way through the halls till she was in a large room. It was filled to the brim with stored food, wine, but it soon changed into a large winged lion. He had piercing green eyes and markings on his fur. He had a mischievous smirk on his face as he stomped his way over to Yin. He towered over her as he glared down at her and asked, "What vexes you, human?" Izuku asked, in a concerning tone. "I've come to ask if you can cure my illness and retrieve Tenya Ida from your capture," Yin coughed. Izuku merely laughed at this tiny little human. "Who are you demanding things of me?" Can you stop? Sorry, she's trying to eat more. I'm sorry. Who are you to demand things of me? He growled, but Yin simply stood her ground and stared at him. With a demanding look, this annoyed him greatly. He so wanted to crush her spirit with his impossible riddles. But what pissed him off was Yin demanding him to challenge her. If she wins, he has to tell her the cure and free Ida. Izuku agreed. He will tell 3 riddles. All must be answered correctly. "I speak without a mouth and hear without ears. I am no body, but I came alive with a wind. What am I?" "An echo," Yin said with a cough. "You measure my life in hours, and I serve you by exercising or something. I'm sucky at words. I'm quick when I'm thin and slow when I'm fat. The wind is my energy." Izuku growled. A candle," Yin wheezed, her breathing becoming shallow. She slowly fell to her knees. As blood started to get coughed up, Izuku grew annoyed with her endless coughing, so he casted a spell to cure her symptoms. He asked his final riddle, hoping it would trip her up. I shine brightest in the dark. I am there and cannot be seen. To have me costs you nothing, but without me, it but without what but to be without me, it costs you everything. Yin looked up at the Sphinx with a warm smile. Hope, she smiled. Izuku growled as he stomped his large paw just a few feet away from her, but he kept his end of the bargain. He figured the illness would kill you before you reached the cure. Sadly, that didn't happen. As she returned to her village with the cure and Ida in tow, the town celebrated and partied that night away. Soon the town went back to normal. For Yin, it's back to maintaining the town pub. Izuku, bored out of his mind, decided to visit the village pub. With the help of magic, he transformed into his human self. With wild green hair, forest green eyes, cute little freckles on his cheeks. As he entered, he was surprised to see Yin happy and well. So he found the nearest chair and pushed the blonde with a lightning bolt out of his seat. Hey, find yourself a seat. Izuku glared with his eyes flashing red. Come, Nari whimpered and quickly dashed out of the pub. As he looked to Yin, he simply smiled and drew him a drink. Izuku couldn't say anything, as he simply observed her work. Not too far from him was a short guy with odd purple hair. Izuku could see the lust in the man's eyes as he looked her up and down. For some reason, Izuku's heart pounded in anger as he watched them interact. Hey, Yin, Mineta called. What do you want? Yin sighed in annoyance. Should I? Okay, fine. I guess this is not. I go in hard, but come out soft. I never mind if you want to bubblegum. Yin interrupted. The answer to the riddle is bubblegum. Lucky guess, Mineta mumbled. By the way, Mineta, you find me in a guy's pants. I'm about 6 inches long. I have a head, and some women love to blow me. What am I? Yin asked. What is it? Mineta asked with drooling. $20, 'cause that's how much your meal costs, Yin said with a serious tone. Mineta grumbled as he placed his money on the counter and quickly left. Izuku couldn't help but laugh out loud. Yin smiled as she continued to work, till she asked, So, what brings you here? Great Sphinx, Izuku, she asked. His eyes widened, but he quickly played it off. How could you tell? He asked simply. Your eyes and the markings on your face, Yin giggled. Brave, observant, and smart. You seem to be quite the catch for any man. So, are you and that Ida fellow a couple? You were the only one to come to save him, Izuku asked. No, Ida is married to Momo. She was horribly sick from the plague, but she's better now, Yin explained. How much for this drink? Izuku, changing the subject. It's on the house. As a thanks for telling me the cure, Yin smiled. You do know that if you fail, I would have killed you, Izuku shot back. Well, good thing I didn't, Yin said simply. Izuku quickly got up, thanked her for the drink, and left without another word. Yin thought that was that, and he would not return. She was very wrong, though. A few days later, Izuku returned to the exact same chair. Soon the visitors went from a few months to a few weeks, and then a few days or two. Yin started to learn more about him, like his rivalry with another Sphinx named Bakugo, how he constantly clash and fight. So he helps our village to keep Bakugo's village away from the oasis. Soon he found himself being courted by this boy. Izuku has a very odd way of flirt. A smile is the second best thing you can do with your lips. What is the first thing? He asked with a smirk. No. Yin giggled as she played hard to get. You know the answer. What is it? Izuku smiled. I do know what the answer is, but no, Yin giggled as she finished cleaning up the pub. As the two left the pub, Izuku quickly noticed a large smokestack coming from the edge of the village. Suddenly, a powerful roar rattled the sky as Izuku quickly transformed to see what was happening. At the edge of the village, Bakugo and his village were raiding the town. Bakugo slammed and squashed houses and shops as the enemy invaded. So this is where you've been hiding, Deku, Bakugo growled as they circled each other. What are you doing here, Kachan? Izuku sneered. A little birdie told me that you're hiding a special time capsule that the Great All Might had left behind. Hand it over, Bakugo demanded. Never, Izuku growled. The two quickly fought, and it was epic as the two struggled and clawed at each other. Soon, Izuku got a good strike and scratched out Bakugo's left eye. With a growl, Bakugo retreated with his goons, not too far behind. As soon as they were out of sight, he slowly collapsed on the ground. His wounds and footage quickly caught up to him as he blacked out. Oh my god. Snore is what I felt. A soar is what I felt when I floated in the darkness. Slowly but surely, I opened my eyes to see I was in a room. I was in human form on a bed, covered in bandages. As I looked around, I could feel weight on my side. Next to me lay Yin, and by her side was medical supplies. Her hands were wrapped in bandages too. From the revealing skin, they were badly burned and scraped. Soon, her eyes fluttered open, and soon found mine. Well, good morning, sleepyhead, she smiled sleepily. What happened? Izuku asked sluggishly. You saved the village. The people put out the fire while you rested. I was able to patch you back up, Yin answered as she sat at the edge of the bed. I looked down at the bandages. Some were known and others were soaked in blood. I'll get you your favorite drink and meal as a quick thank you, Yin smiled as she kissed my cheek. The answer to your riddle was a kiss, wasn't it? She giggled. I could feel my cheeks heat up as my wounds were as my words were stuck in my throat. Yin laughed and hurried out of the room to get my meal. I sat there, plotting on how to get her back. I feel so bad because there were so many cuts in this. So I wanted to say thank you for reading, well, not reading this, but listening. You guys will be getting 2 Bakugos in a row. Well, kind of also a Shoto. But thank you guys so much for listening. Goodbye!